Hello and welcome to episode 20 of
Yay!
Tragic 2 podcast. It's Dan and Sursh here for our next milestone in the podcast. We didn't think we'd get this far.
No.
And I have been waiting all 20 episodes because I am such a nerd, and just every single week I bring this up because a friend of mine weeks and weeks ago told me that there's only 1% of podcasts that get to episode 20.
Now, it might end at 20.
But this won't.
Well, it might, because what I'm going to tell you, I wanted to be really well for this episode. I've been clearly sick for 2 weeks, as you can hear. I sound like Kermit the Frog. I want you to be on Snot Watch.
Snot Watch?
Snot Watch today.
Well, I'm hardly going to tell you during the pod.
No, I need you to tell me because it's videoed.
See that camera there?
Yeah, I can't see myself. So you need to let me know if there's snot hanging out of my nose, because it happens quite a lot. So I have obviously not been well with a cold. Mm-hmm. Now, you know when you're blowing your nose so much that you don't understand how there's that much fluid coming out. Now, I mean all day, every day. So it got to a point where I was in the car one day, I had no tissue left, and I took up my jumper and I destroyed it. Now, the jumper looked like a 16-year-old boy's bed sheets. Like, it was, you could probably break it in half. It was disgusting.
How do you know what a 16-year-old boy's bed sheets look like?
Because I was 16 once.
True, fair.
But yeah, Snot Watch.
Snot Watch
is what you're on.
Okay.
But no, I'm getting better. I'm getting better, okay? Slowly but surely. The immune system of a dead sheep is what I have.
Oh, that sounds awful.
You know this. You shouldn't be shocked.
Sheep.
You know me long enough to know
it's kind of like, my one is, I feel as off the ball as a dead seal. Or no, I feel as on the ball as a dead seal.
What? I don't get that.
You know when seals, they play with balls?
Oh, yeah. I've never seen... Have you seen a seal play with a ball?
I have, actually.
Where?
One of those Sea World show things.
Yeah, where they're being tortured.
Anyway, coming up on this week's episode, we're going to be telling you why we're not making any friends.
Yeah, well, we will talk about that in a second, and I'll tell you what happened to me today, and I certainly wasn't making any friends.
I think it's fairly obvious why we're not making friends.
Yeah, well, maybe. No, because I'm trying to be really good now at the moment, and I'm trying to sleep and get the immune system back up. So I've been taking magnesium powder, right? So it works a little bit too well. So I don't know if you've ever taken that. You feel drunk / hungover when you wake up.
Really?
Yeah, not in a bad way, just in a really out of your mind way.
Oh.
So I had to get up.
Are you sure it's magnesium?
Actually, do you know what? Now that you say it. No, it's in a powdered form, okay? I probably overdosed. It says 1 teaspoon. I put in 3 tablespoons. So I'm definitely...
And do you sniff this?
No, you put it in your drink. You put it in your drink, okay? Now, gets you asleep.
Okay,
I've been sleeping great. I've been spiking myself. So you're getting up to go to work wrecked because you don't know what the hell's going on. So I do stuff like lock myself out of the apartment, leave doors open that shouldn't be open, like putting the milk in the microwave, this kind of stuff. Just
what?
Yeah, I'm doing really stupid things. But this morning, I went to put petrol in the car and I drove off.
Without paying for it?
I drove off, yeah.
Stop.
Yes.
What happened?
I filled it up and literally put it back and drove off. I was halfway to work and I remembered. And then all I thought of was, you're going to be on Crime Watch or Crime Call. You're going to be on Crime Call and everybody's going to know it's you. And it looks like you've done this on purpose. Drive back right now and pay for it.
Oh my God.
Now, they had taken my reg already.
And they had probably already called the guards.
No, they didn't.
Really?
They didn't. I think they were probably going to and then send it on to Crime Call. But I paid it in the end. But that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I literally was on the way to work thinking, I definitely forgot to do something there.
I remember forgetting to bring my wallet to a petrol station and putting petrol in my car and going up and going.
But that's not as bad. That's not as bad.
I think it is.
It's not because
I'm actually in the shop and I'm trying to go, I've actually forgotten my money.
Yeah, but you were also admitting, hi, it's me, and here's my reg, and here's my phone number.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will go, here, keep my phone, and I'll drive off and come back. Obviously, they're going to come and get their phone. But when you're doing it, see you later. Thanks for the free petrol.
I'm definitely not paying for this.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it was so embarrassing. And it's the local petrol station.
Yeah.
So now you just look like...
You look like the local criminal. Yeah.
And there was people around. It was just awful.
Did you blame it on the magnesium powder?
Of course I did. I told them the whole story. I was like, well, I haven't been well, trying to sleep better. So I've been taking this magnesium. Big queue of people behind me. And they were like, It's okay.
Did you tell him that you also had a biopsy of your cervix and
No, I
that could
didn't go
also
that
be a
far.
potential, what do they call
No,
it?
that's clear. That's all good now.
That's all good now.
That's all good. We don't need to talk about that. But so I didn't make friends, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I'm never going back.
And this is quite a trend for both of us because we are in our 30s and hence was the reason, and we harp to this all the time, hence the reason we set up this podcast is because we are two people in our 30s who are not living the lives of people who should be in their 30s are living. And I hear about all of this all the time. It comes up in my like news pieces, or you know, if I'm like, it always comes up on RTE radio for some reason. Very depressing. Is that people our age struggle to make new friends?
Yeah. And I think, do you know what's really strange? When you think back when you're younger, right? Very easy to make friends.
Yeah.
But you're also nearly given friends. So whether it's on your road, your parents have made friends with parents, so you end up being friends with those kids.
Yeah.
You're in school, you're around loads of people, but you don't choose those friends. So I often look back and think, like, friends I would have been friends with as a smaller child, I would never be friends with those people now because you kind of were just forced to be in school together and you went to their parties and stuff like that, but you didn't really want to go.
Yeah.
You didn't really get on with them, but that was what you did. And then school, you kind of form your friendships, but it's based around peer pressure. Like, are you the one that goes out drinking in a field? Yes, I was. So I'll hang around with those types of people, but they also weren't my people. But I was always quite good at making friends.
Welcome to Sursh's people.
My people. But you know what I mean? You do have people that you get on with and have similar personalities to you. And usually you find that in work spaces, I think. Like when you go into a certain course in college maybe, or a line of work, it's usually because you're interested in the same thing that other people are interested in.
And very, like, not a lot of the time, the people who you're in work with or in school with or in college with, you know, you're going to lose contact with a hell of a lot of them. I've been lucky enough, there have been one or two that I was in college with that you know, I stay in regular contact with, and I see quite a lot, and I'm quite lucky to have that. But like, I was out, I went for a walk to clear my head on the beach in Clontarf recently, and there were a group of lads, probably looked about my age. They were kicking around a football on the beach. If that was like younger me, like 12, 13, 14-year-old me, and they were obviously the same, if that was the setting, you'd go in and join in, no bother, and have a kick around, no bother.
Yeah.
But if I was to suddenly walk over to, there was about 5 of them, if I was to walk over into their group of, you know, just kick around, they'd be like, the fuck are you?
As in now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're of an age where people just assume there's something wrong with you if you were to go and try and make friends with somebody. But again, like, you're saying that, and like, I totally agree. If I was in that situation and someone came over, you would be a bit taken aback. But if we were in a nightclub or somewhere with loads of alcohol, you could literally be...
Alcohol helps.
It does help though. As bad as
Always
that sounds,
drink responsibly.
you could be with a stranger literally peeing together.
Yeah.
And that's normal. Which it shouldn't be, but it is. It's more acceptable.
So, that match the other day, huh?
But you do. But I find now that you have groups of friends from different times of your life that you're friends with, but you get to a point where they settle down.
Yeah.
They have kids.
Yeah.
They get married. And even if they don't get married, they're in long-term relationships and they're living with partners. So they don't have that same amount of time to spend just doing nothing, hanging out, going for drinks, going for dinner. So I am finding, cue the lonely music, that now is probably the first time I've experienced what you would call lonely. Yeah. Because of that. Because I'm like busy, and I'll keep myself busy, and I've loads of friends, and I've friends that aren't married that, you know, will have sleepovers with me. But like the day-to-day stuff, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm making dinner for one. Yeah. On my own. This is weird. And this is not what I envisioned.
I find myself like, you know, coming back from work all the time. Now, it's my own choice that I don't watch television with my parents, but I'd be sitting inside in the, like, whatever I'm watching on Netflix, or if there's a match on or whatever, I'm just sitting there and I'm looking around going, I'm like literally on my own.
I know.
And it's awful. It really, really is awful. And it kind of comes to, like summertime when I'm trying to plan holidays, for example. And I only said this to a friend of mine. A friend of mine is spending time on her own in Lanzarote, I think it is at the moment.
I could never do it.
But she does it now. She works. I mentioned her on the last episode. She's cabin crew with Aer Lingus. SJ, great woman, and so she's traveling a lot.
Yeah.
And there could be times where she might have a 2-day layover somewhere, and she has to make do with
perks of the job.
Perks of the job.
Yeah.
So she went. Her recent route was from Denver. So when she got back, she got on a flight straight away, went to Lanzarote just to cool off. And, well, you can't cool off in Lanzarote because it's 1,000,000 degrees. But to just chill out, can't do that either. So she was putting up pictures and she was like sitting in a restaurant with her Kindle and a glass of wine. And I'm like, oh, that is like so ideal.
But you know what I think? She went for work. I know she had the layover of having a few days to herself. So that was kind of acceptable, quote unquote acceptable. I couldn't just decide I'm going to go away for a week somewhere on my own. Now, you have done it.
I've done it. And I used to be great with my own company. I used to, because I go down to Torremolinos where my grandmother had her apartment, and I've been going there since I was a kid. So I know all of the areas. I know all of the bars. Sometimes I know the people working there. So I was comfortable in that situation. But it got to a couple of years ago. I think it was when COVID lifted and I went down to Spain. And I was sitting there and I was actually going, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Something's not right here. I'm not right with this. I'm sitting here in this bar that I've sat in 1,000,000 times on my own, but I'm actually not okay because I was very much aware of that I had turned 30 during COVID, and here is this 30-year-old man alone on a holiday by himself sitting in a bar. And I said this to my mate SJ. I was like, it seems more acceptable for women to do that, to sit in the thing and read a book and have a glass of wine there. To me, that's ideal.
But we've had this discussion. I think it's actually the opposite. I think if I went into a bar with a book, and sat up at the bar, and read my book, I wouldn't, not be left in peace because people would possibly try and talk to me. And then it would just feel uncomfortable. I think everyone would be staring, thinking, why are you here?
Well, so this was in a restaurant. So I think a restaurant and a bar setting are two different settings. You're going into a restaurant, you might have a bit of food, your glass of wine, your book, you're sorted for the night. If you're going into a bar, there's going to be music, it's going to be loud, it's going to be lively, whatever. As you said, it's a different scenario. People want to come up and chat to you. But in any of those situations, like I'd walk into, one of my favorite restaurants in Torremolinos, and I go, uno, la mesa por uno, one table for one.
And they're looking behind you going, hang on.
Yeah, like
just
who's with you? Yeah. And then everybody else is looking at me going, what's that? What's wrong with it?
Yeah. But like, it's like the scene from Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Do you remember that scene where he went to the restaurant on his own?
Yeah. And
he was like, table for one. And they were like, oh, would you like a book? Like, do you want anything? Do you want company?
Yeah.
I'll sit beside you if you want. Like, it was like, this is terrible.
And I felt like that. I went to Torremolinos back in January, after my grandmother had died. I wanted to go down. And I was walking past my favourite restaurant when I had arrived. And it was kind of like busy-ish for January. And I was kind of looking in going, maybe I'll hold off on that. And I went to Burger King, where it's much more acceptable for me to sit on my own. And I had a Whopper instead of the lovely meal that I would have had in my favourite restaurant.
I couldn't do either. I have had this conversation with multiple friends who are perfectly happy going to restaurants days out on their own. I hate my own company. I love being around people.
A lot of people
really do.
Yeah.
But as well as that, I would put myself in a dangerous position, because if I did do it, I would end up talking to I would be the vulnerable person. That I would attract some strange motherfuckers, and I know that would happen, and I would probably
because
end up
it's
being
happened
killed.
Before.
Yeah, exactly.
The Germans who you tried to chat to about Hitler, the two Spanish lifeguards that wanted to show you the life, like the sun
of the seas and start. Yeah, I just can't do it. No, but I would even find people going to the cinema, and I know that's pretty common, on their own. Weird.
I'm more okay with that.
I'm just not. I would be looking around trying to catch
See,
someone's
that's
eye.
why if I'm going to the cinema, I always book I'm never like sort of in the front or at the middle. I'm always up the back.
Yeah.
Where like nobody can see me and judge me.
But,
Where
do you
if
know what
I'm
I mean?
sort of in the middle, people are kind of going,
A lot of people are doing that. Like most people I know would now go to the cinema alone because at the end of the day, you're going with someone. You're not talking for 2 or 3 hours
Exactly,
anyway.
yeah.
So why do you need to have someone there? It's clearly an issue that I haven't come to terms with. But like it's a normal thing to do.
yeah.
But
definitely.
it should definitely be more normalized to do things on your own. But again, I think you are okay at times on your own. I am just not. So I am like really outgoing.
Well, it kind of comes to like this year trying to, because I want to book another holiday, and I'm kind of going like people who I would have gone down with before, like you and other friends that I've been down with. The vast majority of them are like you said earlier. They've gotten married, they've had kids, they've moved on. They're no longer that single friend who go, oh yeah, I'll go to work and I'll take those couple of days off.
Yeah.
They can't do that anymore.
No, they can't do that anymore.
And I've no more sort of single friends to kind of go, hey, do you want to come down for a week?
Like I would make friends, I would say very easily. I'm the type of person, I would never worry about making friends. I have loads of friends, really good friends. I've got loads of acquaintances, but I would never struggle to make new friends. Like even in the gym recently, I just randomly stalked a girl, told her she looked stunning, and now we're like best friends. So like it happens easily enough for me. But for somebody, I've actually got a friend who's got young kids, and she said, I have worked from home during lockdown, wasn't around people from work, in a new type of job. Then she fell pregnant and has been at home with kids. She was like, I don't know where I'd actually meet friends.
Yeah.
They do have like, not dating apps, but like friend apps now. You can literally find friends on, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, similar to Tinder, but it's just for friends. Would you do that? I guess you put in your interests. And
Yeah. But it depends on if the person on the other end is genuinely just looking for a friend,
Exactly.
or are they looking for a ride?
Yeah, but it's girls, guys, it's everyone. You know what I mean? It's just who's into bloody sport, football, and then you find your people.
Yeah, just somebody to go down and watch the 5:30 game with on a Saturday evening in the pub. And
I remember hearing ages ago. Now, I don't know if this is true. It definitely was in America where you could hire a friend. Literally pay.
now
Yeah.
stop
There was
it.
a company where you could hire a friend to come and have dinner with you. And people used to actually use this service. Yeah.
oh wow,
Which is, I mean, what would that do for your mental health to know that you are paying someone for their company? I would love to be paid for that. Please come for dinner with me. I will absolutely act like I'm your best friend for that whole dinner
wow.
and get paid.
Yeah, I'd never. No.
But I'd imagine
I'd
like,
rather be lonely for the rest of my life
so
than do
would
that.
I. But if you were like looking for a friend on one of these apps and then you met up with them, what if they were a serial killer?
True.
Like you just don't know who they are.
Yeah. Trying to groom you or
Yeah. Or just strange people. You're going to find strange people. and I
you will,
think
yeah.
kind of like relationships, you have to meet people in person because you kind of can grasp what they're like. So I don't know about
like
that.
I even find that on dating apps. I withhold as much information about myself as possible. And they're going, oh, here's my number. And I'm like, I'm not giving you my number.
No, you're not going to give loads of strangers your number.
Yeah.
But like we're living in a time where you don't have to interact with people. So we've kind of lost the skill set.
The ability to socialize.
Yeah.
And I think actually that's where the younger generation coming up now might actually struggle more than we do.
Yeah.
Because they're used to, their whole thing is this.
Yeah.
This is their life. Okay, I'm quite addicted to my phone, but not in the sense that they are, that they have to be on TikTok, they have to be on Snapchat, they have to be on Instagram.
But that's where all their friends are.
That's
They're
where all their
actually
friends
virtual.
are. Yeah. Or else they're playing their games, they're playing FIFA with the headset on them, and that's how they're interacting. They're not actually socializing with people.
No.
So they'll actually struggle more than we do.
But they say loneliness is as bad for your health as smoking.
Oh yeah. Oh, it totally is.
And it's just going to get worse, I feel.
Because when you're lonely, like you're stuck with all the thoughts in your head.
Yeah. So I don't know what is going to go on in 10 years' time.
If anybody wants to be my friend, you
Yeah,
can
but
message me through the
I
page.
think for you as well, when we got into the radio
Yeah.
industry, it's like everybody was a mirror of you. It's like, oh, you're exactly like me in
Yeah.
personality. And you.
You're
and
just as weird as I am.
Yes.
Cool.
Exactly. And I think that's where we kind of met. It was like, well, it was in radio.
I brought you, I remember the day I met you.
I don't.
I do. I dropped you in a donut.
Did you?
I did. A big crate of donuts had arrived.
Do you know what?
And I took one. I was like, Sursh is down there now, and she's not going to be able to come up. So I wrapped one up in a piece of tissue and I dropped it down to you.
Away to my heart is through my stomach.
Yeah.
It's true. And I was probably sold. I was like,
Yeah.
Grant, he's sound. I like him. We can be friends. Let's go on holidays and I'll fall out a window. Yeah. But it is true. That was back in like, what, 2016?
Oh, yeah.
2017?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
We stayed friends, which is good.
And 20 episodes later.
20 episodes later, and we haven't killed each other.
No.
I'm too laid back, though. I'm a very laid back friend.
Like I'm like, yeah.
Like, I haven't really fallen out with friends.
No.
I've attracted very strange friends in my life. Like, when I think back, especially girls, very possessive friends that if I spent time with boyfriends or whatever, they would have gone absolutely apeshit. But I do also have to say, when I was kind of growing up with boyfriends, I easily ditched my friends for a guy. I did.
I was literally about to go there.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. Whether it's you or whether it's your girly friends or your boyfriends or whatever.
Yeah.
I've had the same. I've had friends who have gotten into a relationship and that's it.
Yeah. And that's the end of it.
You don't see them again.
Yeah. You start, but it's a young kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you fall madly in love, you want to spend all your time with them and you just ditch your friendships. But I think when you get to your 30s or even late 20s, you don't do that.
No, not as much. Not because you're sort of your younger life is here's the woman of my dreams that you think of at the time.
Yeah. And then you break up 2 years
then
later.
That person ends up being a psychopathic bitch. And you're trying to inform your friend of this, but they don't listen.
They don't listen. No one ever does listen, though. Mm-hmm. He's not talking about me, by the way.
No, not talking about you.
You're actually not.
Definitely not. You know who I'm talking about.
I do know who you're talking about. But it is true, though. It is true. Yeah. No one will listen at the time, and then you end up losing. Well, sometimes you do lose those friends.
Yeah, you do.
But like, I think you get to also a stage in life where you have true friends and then you have acquaintances.
Yeah.
And I think there's a massive difference between the two. Whereas growing up, once you had a big, group of guy and girl friends, you didn't really care.
I think acquaintance-wise are more the people that you would be around in work. Unless you have the closest of close bonds.
Yes.
Everybody that you work with are acquaintances because they're not the people who you would hang out with at the weekend.
Exactly.
Okay, you'll go on the work nights out or the whatever, and you'll have the couple of drinks with them. But aside from that, you won't see them in a social setting.
No, but off the cuff, how many good friends would you consider you have
through radio
just
or
in
just
general,
in general
in your life?
Because
I was only thinking about this the other day. I was like,
I mean, like 2 handfuls if I'm lucky.
Yeah. But like that's meant to be loads. I think the average is meant to be 3 or 4
Really?
good friends.
Oh, good friends. Ah, well, yeah.
As in like really good friends that you would...
One handful that I would trust.
Yeah, that you would trust and, that will be there for you or whatever. Yeah, but there you go. Like, there's a lot of people that don't have any, so we are lucky.
Circle of trust.
A dance circle of trust.
You're still there.
Yeah, I'm still there. Am I?
You are.
I was like, maybe I'm an acquaintance. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I don't think acquaintances would put up with 20 episodes of podcasting.
No, but I feel like I could get on with pretty much anyone. I don't mean be friends with pretty much anyone, but I could get on with pretty much anyone.
I like to think that about myself. There's a few strange things about me, but like...
Oh, I'm batshit. Like, I'm not even denying it. I'm absolutely batshit crazy, but I feel like I could...
I just love to know where this sort of where the link or indeed why the link breaks between, okay, you're more than fine, making friends up until I'm going to say probably your mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
And then it just, I struggle to figure out where that break comes from. That you go from being perfectly okay to just,
Yeah, but also working from home and stuff that people are doing now is not helping.
Yeah.
If you're not in a work environment surrounded by people where you kind of have to go for social drinks afterwards or there's nights out and stuff, if you don't have that, you're also not married, you also don't have kids, then absolutely you're going to be isolated.
yeah, and not being, I find like not being part of the, you know, there's a huge, especially in my area, there's a massive clique that are part of the local GAA club.
Yeah.
And if you're not part of that clique,
Good luck to you.
good luck to you.
Yeah.
And that's just like, yeah. So if you're not, you have to be related to a clique somewhere
Yeah.
ish.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's, yeah. But it's then hard then when you get to your 30s to then go back and try and form that link, because they're all like, who's your man?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And I do think jobs is the kind of way that most people will make friends. Or, you know, for friends of mine that do have kids, it's through their kids' friends' parents. You know, that it's just common ground.
Yeah.
So,
Like, I actually find it quite extraordinary because, like, so I've spoken about, you know, before, like in my 20s, being able to go on holidays and be okay on my own. Only recently, as I've mentioned before, I went on the fitness holiday. And I'd say there were probably only 2 people on that I really knew.
yes.
And the rest of them were complete strangers. And I was getting on this plane with complete strangers and on this little bus transfer thing with complete strangers that I've never met in my life.
But all had a common theme of an interest in the gym or
Exactly. Whatever. And then, you know, it was quite interesting when we arrived and it was lunchtime and we all sat down at this massive table to lunch. And there was like, I'd say there was probably nobody said a word for maybe about 10 minutes.
Yes.
And it was a really awkward, like you're looking around and you're going,
Yeah, you start acting like that child again.
Yeah,
where you're like,
yeah,
hi,
yeah.
sorry, my name is...
I'm Dan.
And what do you do?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then 3
But
drinks
then-
in and you're grand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now, you know, we've got, and actually we became quite close on this holiday, and I'm actually having a barbecue with them quite soon. So yeah, it's weird how things work and don't.
And then you also have those friends that will pull the living daylights out of you and like take all your energy and just make you feel shitter. What?
Pull the living day. Never mind.
Jesus Christ, he's at it again. Bloody hell.
Sorry.
Like, what is with men?
I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning.
No,
Okay, I've no
I'm
filter
sorry
anymore.
now. It is true. You think about sex like every
Oh no, I don't.
minute.
I haven't
or
thought about
10
sex up
seconds or-
until 10 seconds ago when you said pulling the living daylights out of me.
Well, I certainly wouldn't be doing that for sex sake. Christ. No, thank you.
Oh, we're not going to be friends after this episode.
No, we definitely are not going to be friends after
Episode
this.
20 is where it finishes, folks.
What I
Thanks
was
very
saying
much for listening.
was very innocent before he rudely interrupted with his filth.
Sake.
It's the friends that
Yes.
you genuinely wish you never became friends with, who are just horrible people. Underneath it all, that you are thinking, I'd rather be alone
They
forever.
take advantage of you.
Yeah. Take advantage and just suck the living daylights out of you. Don't even try it. Can we wrap this up now?
I think we've... There's no going back on that. Anyway, so yeah, no, it is just to finish. Like it's a strange mentality
Yeah.
that you just all of a sudden a block forms in your head and you're not able to do the things you
Once we're able to do.
once were able to do.
Yeah, because we have self-awareness, unfortunately. As a kid, you just don't, so you don't care.
Well, there's no going back on the last couple of minutes. There's no going back on this friendship either. We're tied in for life, and delighted that we have actually reached this point of episode 20. because we wondered, would we?
We did wonder, would we? And I'm delighted. Now, I don't think we would have done it without Dave.
No, and Dave is a huge part of this. Dave from APodcastGeek, and like, if you scroll down through our, like, it's amazing the format or the change that has happened in the podcast since we began.
Yes.
Because when we began, all I was doing was putting audiograms up.
I know.
And then
Big step up.
it was okay, we'll record each other on our iPhones. And that was the big step up. We were recording, we were on video. And then our videos.
And in the meantime, Dave was laughing at us. He was like, look at this pathetic effort.
And then Dave arrives out with all of this. Like, do you remember? And I tell not a lie here that when Dave approached us, going, oh, you know, I can show you what I can do with all of this equipment. And like, I genuinely just thought, like, these microphones in front of, I genuinely thought it was just going to be one or two mics and, you know, something. And then light rigs came out and cameras came out, and I'm like, holy shit! Okay, this is the proper real deal here. So yeah, you'll be able to see the class formation or the development in this that we've had if you go onto our Instagram page at Tragic2Pod. And a huge thanks to Dave, because it has transformed it and it has kept us going. So check him out at APodcastGeek. He's brilliant. Anyway, that has been episode 20.
Yay!
Thank you for sticking with me and my weirdness, Sursh. And thank you to the people who listen for sticking through our weirdness.
Okay, wrap it up. Bye.
Anyway, bye.
Love you.